Hey everyone, this is Jono from Hubley. So I just wanted to, I wanted to just share a thought because I was yesterday I was presenting in a webinar with the International Montessori Council, and there was a topic that we got into, and it just something I had a realization, and I just kind of figured something out sort of on the spot. And I've been sort of working on this thing. I've been dancing around it, and there's been something that's been sort of it's been gnawing at me. Sometimes like you you kind of get close to this topic, and you're trying to figure something out, and you're not quite sure what it is, but it's sort of like just just calling to you, and then finally it just kind of popped in my head, and so this is what it is. So basically it's on the topic of when a parent calls your school to inquire, and a lot of times uh, I talk to school directors. I do this all day long basically, and I often hear that people call and they have the same kind of usually the same questions more or less. They start asking about price, and they ask about programming, or but price is like the thing. And a lot of school directors that I talk to, they they sort of they say that you know they give the pricing information whenever they're asked, and they put it on the website. And this is something that I've debated with a lot of people about why I don't think it's a good idea to do that. Not because it's not important information, meaning obviously people need to know the price of the school, before they enroll. Um, but the one of the main arguments against or for giving the pricing information up front as soon as possible is because schools want to sort of filter out the people that are just price shopping. They're just looking for the cheapest school option, and 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 they think that because that's their mentality, that they're not the right fit for the school. And I want to actually say that is a dangerous concept, because I think that is way off, right? But it's very popular opinion. When parents call the school, inquire about price, people are like, "Well, it's this much. It's 10,000. It's 16,000. It's 5,000. Whatever it is." They just they say it because they think that they're qualifying parents that are not a good fit. But that is not right, and I'll explain why. So how do I know that? Because I mean, just ask yourself something like, is it possible for a parent to really understand the value that your school offers them and their children before they actually come in to the school for a tour or an open house, and see, ideally come in during the day and see the actual environment, see the children learning, and how organized it is, and how focused they are, and you know I mean, how could a parent possibly understand the value of your school and what you offer and the results that you offer as an amazing school? How could they understand that before they actually come in and see it, and meet you and meet your staff and see the environment? Of course they can't. They can't understand what that is. So they're a lot of times parents are price shopping because they think they should be, right? Because the world tells them, like, be frugal, be careful with your dollars. And obviously that's not crazy, right? But why would the parents know how to actually properly select a school for their children, especially if they're first-time parents? How likely is it for a first-time parent to understand the difference between one school or the next, your school or a cheaper school? You know, like, to them, aren't they all really the same, right? Like, obviously, you know, uh, like they can't necessarily understand the difference between your school and another school because they don't really know how to select a school. They're not educated in that area, right? So most parents, they're not educated buyers when it comes to selecting schools. And so when you're dealing with a customer segment that aren't educated buyers, they're not they're not experienced. This is the first time. Even if they've got a child in a school, maybe that's the only one school they've ever experienced, and they don't know that something could be better or different, or maybe just a better fit for them. They might not even realize that a school could be a better fit or not, right? So, I mean, to them, all schools just might be the same, or maybe a little bit different, or it's just like one teacher's personality is different than another teacher's personality, but that's different amongst within the same school anyways, and kids go from one teacher to the next usually. So really, what's the real difference? Because one school to the next, it's just different people, and they're going to be dealing with different people all the time. So, and obviously, they're aware that there's government bodies that oversee, standards in schools. So, isn't the government taking care of that? Can't I just kind of rely on, why not just go for the cheapest school? Okay, so they're not educated buyers, right? So when a parent contacts you and asks about price, it's your job to incentivize them to schedule a tour so that they can come in and see what makes your school different from other schools, so that they can understand what values and results you offer that are different than, maybe not a school that's not as good as yours, but just different. And maybe that'll be the first time they even realize, oh, it can be done differently. I know that was my experience when I did a tour at at the Montessori school that I send my kids to, right? That was the first time I I ever saw that kind of environment. It blew my mind. I my educational experience was the public school system, and I was sitting in a row of desks with teachers up in front of me, and it was very, very old school and traditional because I'm 40 years old, right? Um, and I didn't realize something could be so different. And when I went into that school, I saw something that, like, I didn't even know that I might run into. It was a shock. It was like a wow experience. And it was like an immediate recognition that, like, that's what I want for my children. And it brought me to tears because what, I saw these kids, these kids sitting down and focusing, and they're at work, and I pictured my children there, right, in this incredible environment, which was so different than what I thought I would ever run into, right? So doesn't that make a lot more sense, rather than allowing the parents to think that they're actually making an informed decision based off, you know, a website or a pamphlet, and then knowing your tuition rates? Because they can't. They just can't know. They cannot know. They have to come in to the school and have that experience. And the tuition and that information is is one of the best ways to draw them into the school, because you can simply say to them, listen, our tuition is something that we talk about, but only after you come into the school and we meet you, and we make sure that you understand what makes our school different. And we want to first understand, does this school even resonate with your values? Do, do you does this make sense for you? Then we'll talk about tuition with you. And don't worry, like, we're not wildly, like, even if we are more expensive than another school in the area, it's we price our school, relative to other schools in the area. you know Maybe you are more expensive, maybe you're not, but that information shouldn't be. You have to help the parents understand how to make the right choice for their children and for them, right? And because you have to be an educator. So I honestly think, and I know a lot of schools do this, is that they'll just tell them right off the cuff, this is what our tuition is. And and honestly, I think that's, I don't want to offend anybody, I think that's lazy. I think that's lazy, because it's your job as an educator to educate, right? And these parents need you to guide them into making an educated decision the way people should be making school choice decisions. And if they're price shopping, it's not because they're not the right fit. Maybe they're not, but that doesn't tell you that they're not the right fit. They're doing that because that's what they know. That's what they think they should do. But they don't know how to make a school choice, probably. So you're there, you're the educator, educate them, guide them. take them by the hand and show them how to think about this and how to make this choice. They need you to do that. I hope that makes sense.